Thanks to the support as a channel member, Ryan Harding. Well, boys and girls, after the disappointment of missing out in the Champions League again, thanks to moron, but the joy of winning La Liga, we now have to try and put together a team capable of going one better with very little money to spend, and the added battle of I feel like I've got a cold coming on and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to make it to the end of this video. So we're surrounded by challenges today. Hello and welcome to Club 5 Part 11 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special at the end of what ultimately I guess we have to consider a good season. I know some of you have been very mean to me in the comments section over the last couple of days, but you know what? We came into a Real Madrid team that needed a rebuild. We've done a lot of rebuild, as you can see by all of these transfers that we did last summer that have, by and large, gone pretty well. We've done it whilst winning La Liga and the Super Cup and getting to the quarterfinal of the Champions League, narrowly missing out thanks to a one piece of nonsense from one of our own players. So ultimately, I think it's been a pretty good season. Interesting that Adeyemi's been given signing of the season. I mean, I guess he has come in for a bargain price, averaged a 7.4 and then got 14 goal contributions in 18 matches. But at 34 years old, I would argue probably shouldn't be winning signing of the season, although he was definitely a difference maker. I would look for Silva or Mikhailov probably as signing of the season, players who've come in and both been excellent. 7.27, 7.26. Bruno is definitely one who's going to push on over the course of the next year, I think. And the less said about Marina, the better. Now, we obviously had a few duds in there as well. We certainly were in a situation where we just needed to bring in some quantity of players as well. So there's a few boys down this end who we might be looking to move on as early as this summer. Even Fontaine, I've been pretty disappointed in. We spent a lot of money on him and he's not been a very good signing. But particularly Chung Dong-yun, we're probably going to look to move on. I'm not entirely convinced about Yan either at 21 years old. If he was 18, then maybe, but 21 years old, especially with at least one more striker coming in this summer, there's probably a few poor signings in there as well. But ultimately, we won the league. Now, is that a feverish, blurred vision I'm seeing there? Or is that genuinely a little bit broken? I really, really hope that's a little bit broken and that's not an indication of how poorly I'm feeling. I think it's hay fever. I've done a COVID. It's fine. I've done the tests. I think it's hay fever. I have a nasal spray on the way. I'll try not to bring it up again for the rest of the video because no one wants to hear me moaning about being sick. Money-wise, obviously we spent a lot of money, but we're Real Madrid, so a lot of money is always going to come in. And our big shirt sellers were Vinicius Jr., Carlos Vitor, Lopez, Koulibaly, and Adeyemi sneaking in at number 5 as the new boy, and that's our team of the year. And I think that emphasises a lot about where the issue in the squad is. The goalkeeper is good, the defence are good, the midfield definitely need a proper holding midfielder in there, but we've got a lot of very nice attack-minded midfielders, but we don't have an out-and-out striker. Mansour and Koulibaly, they're both support strikers, and Koulibaly really should be playing in this midfield. So the priority for this summer is 1 or 2 strikers. We've obviously already got Damien coming in, so whether or not we can get a second striker or go with someone like Mansour or Koulibaly as the support striker for Damien and just really go all in on Damien. And then we need a proper defensive midfielder. We brought in Fontaine, who I've already said I wasn't really happy with to play in that role. Carlos Vitor played there for a bit and did okay, but I like him further forward. That's the plan, and obviously we also need some backups at fullback as well. Club awards, player of the year was Rafalski, young player of the year Mansour, signing the season Adeyemi, as we know. Atundi got goal of the season, which it's still not clickable. People always tell me it's clickable. I maintain it's not clickable. Vinicius Jr., top goal scorer with 27 goals, but we're definitely looking to move him on this summer. He deteriorated as the season went on, and I think if we hadn't brought Adeyemi in, I think we'd have had a real problematic second half of the season because Vinicius just stopped scoring as the season went on. Felipe Lopez, 15 assists. Mansour, most man of the match awards. Rafalski, most highest average rating, and we have new club records. Most league appearances for the club, 593 now for Vinicius Jr. I hope he retires this summer. I suspect he won't, and we'll have to sell him. But I think he is done now after nearly 600 appearances. And Morales became our youngest ever player at 15 years, 290 days, and will go on to be a star. So other than all that, you can see we did end up setting the La Liga record for goals scored in the season on 95. Also a record in La Liga. Actually, no, is that a team record? That's a team record for 3 draws in a season. We also set the new La Liga record for points in a season at 93. So it's the most dominant season in La Liga, both for points and goals, over the course of the save. So it's not that we've scraped to a league title. We are very good domestically, and we're not that far away in Europe. I am convinced we were close against Paris Saint-Germain. That's our all-time best 11. You can see that there's quite a few of the current team are in there, but they're all getting on a bit and probably looking towards being replaced. We've done the season review. What else have we got on here? Club vision for the upcoming season. The board are just looking for okay, so they want a semi-final and to win La Liga. Yeah, we can do that. We don't even need to negotiate. We're just going to accept that. They're also lowering the expectation to sign younger players. So it does open the door to the likes of Damian and Delgado without upsetting the board, which is ideal. We've brought in lots of youth. Now we can bring in lots of winners. This is the year. This is the year that we are going to... I'm not being ambitious enough saying latter stages of the Champions League. I assumed that would mean semi-final. We're going to go and win everything this coming season. I think that's the plan. Right. Off on the end of season team break. We'll go to China for our pre-season jolly. And then Tamang's probably too old for us to look to bring in, but he's winning absolutely everything over in England, as usual. I thought that was my Delgado. It's a different Delgado at Manchester United. Juan Jesus is still rattling in the goals for Almeria. I don't think he's a guy we should be bringing in, although he scores so many goals. But at 26, still not capped internationally. It's a weird one. He has been rattling in the goals for 3 years. But then you have to ask the question, why none of the other big clubs bringing him in either? I've won Manager of the Year, and I don't know who that is. So if he's one of ours and he's requested a transfer, that's probably why, because the manager doesn't know who he is. So, to recap, we've already got Damian coming in, and outside of that, we've got £23 million left and quite a chunk of wage budget. There are a few of these that we're going to look to sell, but I'm not envisaging a massively busy summer because Delgado was our main business and we've already done it. If we can get rid of the likes of Vinicius, who are a little bit older, even Adeyemi, if we bring in another striker, I'm not against. I would certainly swap Vinicius and Adeyemi for Delgado if the opportunity came up. But other than that, we'll just be looking to continue slotting decent young players in because I think the squad is a striker or two away from being good enough. So that's the plan. Let's go do the plan. Folks, I just want to take a sec to thank this episode's sponsor, Skillshare. Now, as I'm sure you know by now, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. Have a specific skill you're trying to learn? Skillshare is the perfect place for you to start. From photography and illustration through to graphic design, freelancing, and more, you can find classes that will match your goals and interests. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably pretty interested in YouTube, making YouTube content and how to do it better. And there's no better class you could do to help you with those skills than YouTube Success Script, Shoot and Edit with MKBHD. It is fantastic. I've gone through this course myself. It is really top tier stuff. It starts from right at the beginning, planning out your video, the gear you need to be able to do it, through to how to actually shoot it, lighting, best shots, and then how to edit it all together, and even how to get it onto YouTube and get it out there so people can see it and grow your channel. It is real top tier stuff. Just cannot recommend that class highly enough. Skillshare is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills. There's new premium content being added all the time, so you've always got something new to learn. And they now have subtitles available in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. So what are you waiting for, boys and girls? There is a link at the top of the description, and the first 1,000 people to join using that link will enjoy 1 month free of Skillshare. I've been working with Skillshare for years now and using them as a product for even longer than that. So can't recommend them highly enough, and would really appreciate you supporting the channel and supporting Skillshare by having a look at that link. What have you got to lose? It's a month for free if you're one of those first 1,000 people. Back to the video. Oh, exciting news, boys and girls. As well as the Damian transfer we already had prearranged, we have now also agreed to sign Delgado. Gonzalo Delgado. Sergio is not leaving Norwich. They want 250 million for him. I made an offer of 50 million up front, 100 on installments. They just flat out refused. Didn't even want to negotiate it. We are not getting him, but we have got the PFA Young Player of the Year in the Premier League, Gonzalo Delgado. It's another midfield player, but he's better than all of the ones that we've got. And I figure he fits perfectly into this role here, allowing Vitor. This is the plan. So Vitor will go there. It annoys me that they've got the silly flag things on them. We can have Bruno in there and then Delgado here, or even potentially Koulibaly, depending on what we do with the rest of the transfers. Koulibaly could potentially play there. And then we've got Bell, who can play in that role, or any number of other players, Demir. Obviously, Bruno can move around in there as well. Koulibaly can drop in there as well. And then we've got Damian plus another, which might be Mansa, might be Koulibaly, but I think it is a player that we needed. He's our energetic midfielder with 19 acceleration, 18 pace, 19 natural fitness. He is just going to run really fast all the time. Love that. Delgado's a Real Madrid player, or he will be on the 1st of July. We now kind of have to wait for those two boys to show up. We have no budget left, but obviously what we can do is look into moving on some of the players that we want to move on. So that now becomes the job. Well, at least there's this. Norwich did make it through to the final of the Champions League, as we know. But despite Manchester City going down to 10 men, they weren't able to win the Champions League. So they haven't gone and done it without me. They played Sione up front, which seems absolute madness. Kind of serves them right as far as I'm concerned. Playing him up front, Schultz on the left, Delgado on the right wing. No Pedro Luis at all. I mean, what are they thinking here? Delgado, surely, after playing a Champions League final on the right wing, has got to be thinking in terms of come to Real Madrid, be the main man for the next 7 or 8 years, win La Liga, win multiple Champions Leagues. Surely he puts the pressure on at some point. The only problem is, of course, we've spent our money now. So if he does now put in a transfer request, we've already declared him as our top transfer target. See, that's interesting. There you go. Being linked with an amazing £100 million deal. Norwich just won't entertain it. We'll try again. That's the offer we had turned down before. Try and interact with the board. See if they'll go and get him for me. Can't really say I'm surprised. Eugh. See, this is an interesting one. A £96 million offer for Koulibaly, which I'm looking at that thinking, if there was a way we could sell him and guarantee to get Delgado, then I'd be over the moon. But then I look at Koulibaly, 22 years old, 47 caps for France already, 4.5-star player at Real Madrid, and think, well, how much could we actually sell for him? Let's have a little look on here. So 150 million, he says, is way above his asking price. If we keep going down, still not happy. So he thinks his asking price is somewhere around 125 million. So on that basis, how are Norwich turning down 150 million for Delgado and him not getting upset about it? There's no justice. I'm obviously going to turn this down for Koulibaly because we won't get a player of that quality for that money because we're not the AI. In other news, one transfer that we didn't have to worry about this summer in the end, Sole, who was on £250,000 a week, has retired. So that's freed up some spare wage budget for us. So if we now have a little shuffle around, it's not letting me move anything. I don't know why. Probably because there's transfers still waiting to go through on the 1st of July. But there should be some more money that gets freed up there. We've not had any joy getting rid of anybody else yet. I'm looking at my midfield, trying to work out who I want rid of. If we include future players in. So as a central midfield pairing, Koulibaly and Delgado would be fantastic. We could then put Lopez or Bell in behind the strikers. Or it could be Koulibaly in there and Lopez in midfield. Either way. Vitor at the base of the midfield. I mean, Fontaine's probably the one we get rid of because we've got Morales on the way through who probably is going to end up playing in that role. I just don't think we're going to get our money back on Fontaine trying to sell him on so quickly, but you never know. Should we offer him out? Let's offer him out and see what happens. He seems like the obvious one. Michael we are getting rid of. We need a left back. I think we probably... Do we offer Chung out? We'll keep him around for now. We're fine at right back. Goalkeeper, we're definitely fine. I just compared Silva to Hoyenhal, and he... there you go. You can see he's still on there. Ability, star rating wise, he's already ahead of him. And if we actually look at their ability polygon thing, you can see that Silva's actually better there. I mean, eccentricity being that high is not ideal. And Hoyenhal's slightly better physically currently. But other than that, he's already better than Hoyenhal. We're not going to improve on that. So Silva's our forever goalkeeper. I think we're fine at centre-back. And if Adeyemi, if we can squeeze another year out of Adeyemi, if we can go with a front two of Adeyemi and Damien, with Vinicius happy to be working off the bench, that'd be awesome. I've just been looking at Manchester City as well. Their two remaining ageing strikers, Doku and Mbappe. Doku signs for PSG this summer and Mbappe's retiring, so they'll have lost all three of them inside 6 months. I think Manchester City's period of dominance is finally over, unless Jurgen Klopp has managed to do it again and has got some world-class strikers knocking around. But you saw in January, he was trying to bring in Damien and Mansa, so I suggest that's not the case. Right, no one's interested in Fontaine. Do we put him on the transfer list and just put him down as a flop? I think we probably do. We need the money. I like it here. I don't want to leave. Well, you go in. Well, let's transfer list him and see what happens now. I don't mind taking a small loss on him. Obviously don't want to lose loads of money on a player we just spent 40 million on. Yes, we'll scout Delgado some more. Valentin Ramos. He is being awkward about his contract, yeah, so we don't need to worry about him. And don't mind doing that. Koulibaly got himself all upset, but now he's happy again. Likewise, Atundi. And we'll just cheer him back up again. What was the point of doing it? Nobody knows. Sometimes they work. That's the point. It seems like this is who they've decided is going to be one of their new strikers for the next period of domination. It's going to be interesting to see how high this goes. His release clause is at 219 million. We have 75% retained transfer revenue. If we can stretch him as far as 219 million in the release clause, I think that's Delgado money. And at that point, that's business we're interested in doing. So let's see. Bigger Mutombo. That is the best name I've ever seen. I wonder if we've got a smaller Mutombo as well. Get in here, Bigger. You're in our first team squad, that's for sure. Lovely stuff. Right, just tickle all of them lot and hope the offers for Koulibaly keep coming in. Come on, City. 219 million and he's yours. And then Delgado's ours. And that I'm happy then. Our midfield is strong enough to take the loss of Koulibaly, even though he's our best player in there. I think if we have Lopez or Bell, and then Delgado, and then Lopez or Vitor, and then Vitor or Atundi, that's a world-class midfield diamond. And then up front, you go Delgado and Damien with Adeyemi and Vinicius Jr. off the bench. That's Champions League winning squad right there. If this comes off, we're geniuses. It's difficult to know how to play this because they keep coming back with higher offers. And I've had situations like this before where they will just keep coming back with an extra 10 million indefinitely. until it's not indefinite anymore, and then they make their final offer, won't go another penny more, and then that's it. They'll never come back in again. So I don't know if I should negotiate to 219 now, at risk of upsetting Koulibaly. Although, to be fair, Koulibaly doesn't want to go. So maybe we say, yeah, give us the 219 million release clause and he's yours. I don't want to jeopardize the whole thing. Let's take these bits off. Yeah, they've gone back to what they offered before, so we just reject that and hope that doesn't put an asking price on him. It doesn't, so it shouldn't upset him. It was just something we said in negotiations. We put an idea in their head and they rejected it. That's fine. Let's just double check again that it hasn't put the price on him. It hasn't. We're good. Let's continue to see what happens. So there is confirmation of our two new boys in. I mean, it's what we wanted for deadline, for the opening of the window. Delgado and Damien arriving. It's not quite the shape we hoped for, but I think we've got two real elite level players there. Gonzalo Delgado, central midfielder, but can play anywhere else in midfield and comes in as the best midfielder at the club, which is a nice little situation to be in. And then Damien, we know how dangerous Damien will be. He is lightning quick. He ruined our Norwich team a few years ago when he was still playing for Villarreal. We wanted him then. He's gone to Bayern Munich, spent 5 years there, not really playing. The only time he got any kind of game time, he scored at nearly a goal a game for him. He is going to have a point to prove and hopefully will rattle in the goals for us. And he was a bargain signing as well. We don't have anybody else on the way out of the club just yet. The Koulibaly interest from Manchester City seems to have completely stalled, which is a little bit of a shame because obviously we would like to spin that up into being able to bring Delgado into the club. But for now, we're kind of just sitting and waiting for offers for players, although it is the 1st of July, so I guess we can have a quick look to see what's about in the shape of free transfers. I suspect not a lot that's going to be good enough to come in and play for us, but you never know. Let's have a little look to see who there might be. Yeah. Unless my director of football's got some better options, I don't think we're doing any free transfers. We took them all in January. Demir, Adeyemi, they were two big ones and we already signed them. So I don't think we're likely to find anybody really good through this route. Emil Smith-Rowe, let's bring him in. We need another attacking midfielder. Yeah. They're not really inspirational, are they? And for anyone who doubted the Delgado signing, there's your confirmation. He's come straight in as the best player in La Liga. And we've got quite a few representatives in the La Liga Media Dream 11. The striker is this guy, Paul Peris, who's at Atletico, and Spurs are interested in him. There's a lot of very good Spanish strikers. He's never been capped because he's got Delgado and Moron ahead of him. So, and Damien, obviously, who is considered third best Spanish player, despite the fact he's barely played recently. But Moron has been up front, partnering, or he had been. There you go. There's Moron. Has been rattling up the caps alongside Delgado. I'd like to think Damien's about to take Moron's spot, and it's going to be Damien and Delgado for Spain, and that convinces Delgado that he needs to come and do it at club level for us as well. That's the current plan. We've managed to shift out a couple of players to start bringing in a little bit more money. Chung Dong-yun has gone to Dynamo for £3.6 million. Nice little trebling of our money in 6 months at the club. Do plenty of business like that. That's a good way to get rich. And then in a more significant move, we got an offer from Paris Saint-Germain for Vinicius Jr. for £5.5 million. He is a very, very long-serving Real Madrid player, as we saw earlier in the video. The most appearances for Real Madrid of anybody in history, but he wasn't going to be a regular starter this year. He wasn't a regular starter for the second half of last season. We've brought in one more striker. We're actively pursuing another, and he was on a lot of money. He's gone there on far less money, but I think to be able to get any kind of money for him when he's just about to turn 36 and was on big money, you go and do another year of your career in France and see how you get on. An easier league for you not to knock around in. So that means we now have a little bit of spensies, a little bit more room in our wage budget. Still not Delgado money, but it's all progress and there's still players we'd like to move on. we're just waiting for that big offer for Koulibaly or anyone else, really. Carrera would be a nice player to get a big offer for. He's on the transfer list at £57 million. Inter are interested. That would be a deal would bite their arm off for. Jan, we've put on the transfer list as well. If we can make a profit on him the way we did with Tavafella. This is all part of the plan, trying to accumulate Delgado money now. Not that Norwich have shown any inclination of wanting to sell. Maybe PSG will sell more on now. Now that Vinicius has gone there. Maybe that's a thing. Is he still there? Or if they've already sold him to someone else, I'll be right. There you go. Maybe Moron's the one we bring in. He's too expensive as well. Lovely. Not necessarily the player you would have expected me to sign, but important nonetheless. Javi? Do I look Spanish to you? Carrera, 3-star current ability, 3-star potential ability, 30-year-old goalkeeper. The really important thing about him is he is homegrown at the club, having been here as a young player before leaving and going off and doing his own thing and like being Bayern Munich's starting goalkeeper for 2 years fairly recently. So he's no mug when it comes to playing in goal, but the crucial thing is that homegrown status, because we've already let Vinicius Jr. go, who's homegrown at club. In addition to that, Nicola Cechon, the guy whose name I can't say, despite being Italian, is also homegrown at the club. He came through our youth system, and I want to move him on to make room for Morales as our backup right back this season. So there's no real reason for him to stay at the club. So we've accepted a couple of offers for him from Manchester United and Tottenham. So with him leaving as well, we've only got 6 homegrown players, we only had 6. We need 4 for the Champions League. So with them 2 leaving, that brings us down to 4. And I also want to let, what's his face? Mr. Captain Man. Where is he? Felipe Carrera. I want to let him leave as well. I wonder if he's the brother of the goalkeeper we've just brought in. Where was he born? So he was born in somewhere called Madrid. Let's check on this guy. There can't be many, but they're both from Madrid. And they both came through Real Madrid's youth team. I can only assume they're brothers. One in, one out. But bringing Javi Carrera in means Felipe Carrera can also leave and will stay at 4 homegrown players. We've got Lutovac, who came in as the backup goalkeeper previously. He is only 2 years away from being homegrown at club as well. So we're not going to let him leave. And my plan is still for Thomas Silva to be our starting goalkeeper. But with Carrera having plenty of experience, he could, if Silva has a dodgy patch, we have an equally good goalkeeper currently to come in, although Silva has more long-term upside. Even with that, we've still got, I was going to say plenty of money. We've got no money. We are absolutely skint. Any interest there was in Koulibaly seems to have stopped entirely. I'm going to check in actually and see what Manchester City have done, because they were so keen on him and Mansour in the last 2 windows. They've lost all of their strikers. I can only assume, having gone quiet, they've solved the problem elsewhere. Let's see what they've been up to. So they've brought in Tony Scott, who's a young 26-year-old goalkeeper. This guy who's an 18-year-old defender. They're at it again with bringing in the youngsters. Doesn't look like, I wonder what their plan is. Who are they going to be playing up front this coming season, I wonder? Because they just don't really have anyone. This guy, I guess. Maybe? Well, that brings us through until the start of the new season. We are still just waiting. We did bring in a couple more players, just a couple of loans to fill out the squad. We've got a right back from Manchester City on loan for the season, who will be fine as just an extra option in there. And also this guy who we've immediately sent to Castilla because he is rubbish, on loan from Wolves. So they're a bit of a mixed bag. Nobody else has left though, and we're just waiting for an offer to come in for, we've had a lot of offers come in for Mansour. As you can see there, Dortmund really, really keen on him. Manchester City still haven't come back in for Koulibaly, but I assume they're still interested, because last time I checked, they still hadn't signed any strikers, although maybe they have now. No, he's a goalkeeper and he is a midfielder. So they still haven't signed any strikers. I can't imagine a team like Manchester City going into a Premier League season without a recognised striker. That'd be bonkers. So I do expect them to come back in. And remember, of course, when we signed Delgado originally for Norwich, I can't spell his name, Delgado, it was after a very similar summer like this where we didn't really get a lot of business done. We'd been keeping an eye on him all summer, couldn't really afford him, and then found a way to squeeze him in right at the death. And he scored 27 goals and won the Ballon d'Or that year. So I haven't given up hope that we'll be able to bring him in. But without him, it is a relatively quiet summer so far. And I may have messed up by sending some of the players who weren't fully fit to play for the B team. So our team for the first day of the season is going to be, I mean, it's fine. It's not quite as strong as it could be. Spear, for example, going to be making his debut, and I wasn't expecting to have to use him. But there's a lot of players who played for the B team. Morales is or has been to the Olympics or is going to the Olympics. That's the reason I signed the guy from West Ham. What's his 2 negatives about? Has no strong feelings, struggling to connect with Koulibaly. Well, that's another reason for Koulibaly to move on. We'll see how things go. Now, there won't be a video tomorrow. We are dropping back to something like we're easing slowly towards the summer schedule. Those of you who've been on the channel for a little while will know over the summer I only do 5 videos a week. Spring has started, so we're dropping down to 6 non-League to Legend episodes a week, with the network game highlights coming out in the 11 o'clock Sunday morning slot. So you've got highlights of the network game tomorrow. Then we'll be back with the first couple of games of the new season and transfer deadline. That'll be Monday, 4 o'clock as usual. If you have enjoyed this video, though, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.